Good morning, brothers and beloved sisters. This is an abbreviated version of Black Men Declare. We just had to come on and chat about this one particular topic, and it's all fluid. It's just a extemporaneous response to a reality that took place yesterday at this Black Journalists Convention where 45 had an opportunity to speak, and there are mixed reactions to that invite and what he had to say. And so I asked our esteemed brother, Denmark to come and that he and I might have a conversation about this. And it's fresh. There's no rehearsal. It just means that, we want to give a response, and hopefully the response will be thorough. It may not be. We may not even both agree, but that's okay, because as a brother gave a word yesterday, we want to learn how to eloquently disagree or agree. It's all about growing. It's all about being students in everything that we do. Denmark, you know what happened, and I haven't had an opportunity even really to see the full interview, but what I have seen and what I've heard, I could respond to that. But perhaps you had a chance to see some of it, more of it. So I want to give you an opportunity to share what you saw or read or heard, or your own personal opinion. And we'll see if I'm on the same page, if I'm on a different page. It don't matter. I'm going to still love you. But come on, share with me what's going on, brother. What's in your mind?
Peace, my brother. Good to be on with you this morning in this abbreviated version as we continue to fight for freedom, justice, and equality. We all know yesterday, actually this whole week been kind of like a whirlwind. We had 2 days ago, the vice president and presidential nominee, Kamala Harris, showed up in Atlanta to give a speech, and she had none other than Megan Thee Stallion on stage, and she caught quite a bit of heat from that, especially from her primary voters, which are Black women, who say that wasn't a place for her to be on stage twerking, and they trying to secure the nomination. That was one. But the big one came on yesterday as the presidential person number 45, who they call 45, none other than Donald Trump, showed up to the National Association of Black Journalists, and the NABJ. They caught a lot of flack from different Black journalists, mostly the journalists who are 100% Democratic, like Roland Martin, like April Ryan, Joanne Reed. Those folks gave the NABJ hell with their decision to invite Donald Trump. And from all of my reading and all of my study in this situation, you find out that they actually invited both candidates. They invited Trump and they invited Kamala Harris. However, Kamala had a previous engagement, I think was the funeral of Congressman Sheila Jackson. May God be pleased with her and all the work that she's put in. But needless to say, Kamala couldn't attend, and they had already sent out a memorandum saying that no candidate couldn't do it via Zoom conference. And that was already a stipulation before, Donald Trump showed up. However, he did show up after, pulling his pants down to him a few years ago, from what I read, that he didn't show up. But he showed up probably because he feel the heat from Kamala and the wave that she's riding right now. And he showed up in his unique way that he does. There was 3 Black women on the panel, and he acted a fool yesterday, especially with one of them, criticizing her for being late, criticizing the audio, criticizing everything. And I've heard other journalists say that there was nothing wrong with the audio and that was right there in the arena. But he showed up and he answered he didn't answer questions. He made his own questions and answered those. Let me say it that way. He made his own questions and answered those. But my thing is, like, this is him. This is who he is. He's not going to answer your question directly. He's always going to find a way to criticize his opponent and to change the subject to attack his opponent. And to be frank, he does it pretty good in his own way. And it's like, like I said, people are criticizing the NABJ, but from my opinion and my perspective, as a black man, and knowing that black people are the saving grace to America, and we are probably the only culture or the only people that would give true freedom, justice, and equality to anybody, regardless of race. We've been known to do that. No, despite how they have treated us, we've been known to be fair with white people, with Latino people, with any race. We've been known to be fair. And if America is going to be held to a standard, who better to invite both people, especially Donald Trump again, to say, hey, we're trying to show you that we're fair, we're balanced, we're honest, we're going to try to conduct this with both candidates. I thought that was the approach that they were taking. Now, reading, I do found that maybe one of the journalists was a Republican or whatever, and the invite may have came from her. I'm not quite 100% quite sure on that part, but it doesn't matter. I just felt that it would be fair to get both opinions, especially when we say that we should have a seat at every table. Why not? Because he could become the president. We don't want it, but he could become the president. And what better way to say, well, we did have you at our event, give us an opportunity to talk to you about policies and stuff. But if you don't do it and he wins, what incentive does he have to come to or to invite you to his table to talk about policies or things like that? We will have no ground to stand on. And from that point, I took the stance that it was the right thing for them to do to invite Donald Trump to that forum.
Powerful, brother. Powerful perspective. And I appreciate you laying out that foundation and all of that. I guess my response is not to the invitation, because I would agree with you. Strategically, it makes sense for any black organization to have Trump there, because you can get that particular check mark punched. You can get that ticked off that, okay, we allowed you to come. Just like the NAACP, typically they do the same things, and some of these other national groups do the same thing, and I don't know if they have did that. But here's the key. To me, it's not really the invite, and I could say that I think I have a level of legitimacy in this position. Journalism was my minor in college, and I've written many things, several things, and I'm gonna begin to publish a whole lot of them over the next 6 to 12 months. It's really, my concern is the reaction by black people. Is that black people, based on that opportunity for him to be there, and some of the things that he said about Kamala Harris, and them believing on it and picking up on it and running with it and trying to leverage it, all the way to the point to where, Dr. Omar, who I really respect a lot of his work, and also several others that have come out in response to that and just attacked Kamala Harris. And I'm like saying, brothers, hold on, man. We know, let's be real for a moment. Trump made the comment about she became black, just a short time ago. And I had to share with some brothers earlier that, look, man, the girl was from Jamaica. You're going to be all around black folks. Y'all ever been to Jamaica? Yeah, she wasn't born. She wasn't a rich person there. I mean, she was a middle class person there. You're going to be around black people. She lived in Oakland. Brothers, y'all been to Oakland? And y'all been to Oakland to see what Oakland is, right? She went to Howard University. Y'all ever been to Howard University to see what's going there? She was a member of the AKA. Y'all ever been a member of the AKA? Any of you folks out there? These are all black experiences. And at one time in America, if you had 1/16 of black in you, you was black. Look at A. Philip Randolph. Look at Walter White. Look at Thurgood Marshall. Look at W.E.B. Du Bois. All of these men could have probably passed for white, but they didn't. They had the desire to fight. Do we know the history of India and how it was created? Do we know that even in the DNA of the current India continent, that when the study was done and the research was done, that DNA flowed up from Africa? I mean, come on. We have to become more mature in our response to these things. I even heard Judge Joe Brown talking about or implying that, she had upward mobility because of promiscuity. I mean, we remember when former mayor of San Francisco, Willie Brown, come out and talk about, yeah, I hit that, I had that. Why can't we be more sophisticated, to be more mature, that when our people have an opportunity, and I say our people because even whatever it is, she's a person of color. And why are we responding in this way when we know they're going to take those clips and run with them, use them in campaign ads or do whatever? At the end of the day, I'll quote a scripture that all of you Christians out there ought to know. John 8, chapter 1, when Jesus was there meditating and they brought this lady that was supposedly caught in adultery and say, the book said we need to stone her to death. And Jesus just sit there playing with, writing on the ground and looked up and simply said, let he that is sinless cast the first stone. And the words say they walked away from the oldest to the youngest because everybody there has sinned. And so I find it appalling that people in positions where they are respected come out and say such negative things about a person instead of saying, like I'm saying, look, y'all, yeah, she ain't perfect. Who is perfect? But at the end of the day, I'd rather trust her at this moment than a man that said 5 young brothers that was falsely accused of something in Central Park should have been hung and has never come out and said, oh, I was wrong, I apologize. Or a man that says, oh, I don't need to ask for forgiveness when asked. I ain't never done nothing wrong. Everything I do is perfect. Or a man that would say to so-called Christians, I'm the best. I've been better to you than Jesus Christ. Or a man that would say to black folks, if you, I mean, it just goes on and on and on, all the lies. And so, yes, some people say, well, I remember he took out a loan. He gave a loan to this black man when nobody would give it to him. And he go back to take the loan back. And Trump just said, keep it. Do you think evil men don't occasionally do good to affect the thinking of other people? That's how they roll. They find a way to do something good. So now somebody come back later and say, what do you think about this man? And oh yeah, well, he did this or did that. We got to look at the broader picture. A man that talks about severing ties with NATO that will put America in such a dangerous situation. And what you find out, brother Denmark, everybody not mature enough to understand what time it is. Oh, she'd be a lousy commander in chief. She's never done. But what did 45 ever do before he become president except do some real estate and have a reality series TV for 14 years? Come on, let's be real. You're going to have a cabinet. You're going to have people all around you. The only thing you've got to do is be able to take all of that information and that data and make a final decision. You ain't gonna make it on your own. So I found again, really, I didn't have a problem with him going. It would have been better, like you say, I'm gonna submit to that than if you don't go. Because if he win, you at least have something you can say. And at the same time, the response by some of the people, Brother Denmark, is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. We gotta grow up. We gotta mature. And I look at it like this. Our brother, beloved Minister Farrakhan, I watched him evolve and change over the years. I've listened to some of his earlier speeches and how he's speaking now, he's a much more mature person than anybody with common sense could sit and listen to this man, as many do, for hours. Because now he just, to me at least, and you know him better than me, and you know that perspective better than me. But at the end of the day, man, I'm disappointed with our response, not to the invite, but to black folks. Some black folks, not all. Let me get that straight. Response to her as a black person. They're focusing on, oh, as a black, you could get straightened for your hair, brother. If she did straighten that hair, what would it look like, right? Like most of these women. But I'm gonna let you come back and make another couple comments, man, on
You
that.
know,
Then we'll close it up. Come on, brother.
even before the Trump thing, the comments and I've been responding to some of them on Instagram and Twitter. The comments as it relates to Harris have been on both sides. I mean, to the extreme on both sides, positive and negative. And I think it's unfortunately, I've never been the one that questioned her blackness, because if you look at, like you said, her going to the school that she went to, being, Jamaica, having dealings in Jamaica, Oakland, all of that. And not only that, you look at the earlier men that she dated, there were a lot of black men. Maybe they did it wrong, and maybe she started thinking about her future, and so you can't question that. But then you go to her sister. A lot of people don't do that. They go look at her sister. Who is her sister married to? She's married to a brother who was part of Obama's administration. I'm not sure if he actually worked in the administration, but I know he had effect on Obama's administration. A lot of people don't go look at her sister, who kind of looks just like her, come from the same background, same. So evidently they was raised in a black culture, and they took appreciation and admiration for the black culture. And so you can't say, that she's not black. Her father has African DNA in him. You can't say that she's not black. So I've never been that one. I just always question, some of the decision makers, to be honest, like her husband marrying the guy that she has. And I think about it, and I was like, man, maybe some of these brothers just did her wrong, man. And then she got to a point in her life and older age and said, I got to start making some business decisions. And this could be one of those business decisions, even though, it's called marriage. It could be one of those business decisions to help her elevate to the path that she wanted to elevate to. So I can't really, knock her for that. I just know that with America, and they're 100% support of Israel, and for her to have a Jewish husband, and with us calling for a black agenda, how would that actually work? And that's where my concerns more or less comes from, as it deals with Kamala Harris. And I say this all the time, like, I know Trump's a fool. I know Trump, is full of, sugar, honey, iced tea, as they say. I know he's full of it. So how, do I, my thing is not, well, am I looking between him and her? It's never been that. It's like, I'm judging her for what it is, and saying that, okay, I'm going to honor my ancestors for they died for us to have the right to vote. And I'm going to choose that option to vote. But then there's some other candidates that people say, well, you losing, you going a vote not for Kamala is a vote for Donald Trump. Say, I don't believe that. So I look at Robert F. Kennedy. I look at Cornel West and say, if I'm going to vote, and I'm going to vote with my conscience, and knowing that there may be a chance that he wins, because a lot of people do what I do, for me at this point, to be truthful, that's a chance that I have to take. Not saying that I have not decided not to vote for her. It's just weighing all the options and seeing, all of this stuff. But when he came and made a fool, to be truthful, when he came and made a fool out of himself yesterday, it kind of put me more in the box of Harris than most people would even imagine. And that's why I'm glad he came, because he has the audacity to always attack black women. Mm-hmm. And I would sure like it if some black men stand up, and call him out on it, besides Van Jones. somebody else with a little more, you know,
Mm.
whatever. Yeah, I would love to see somebody else stand up and protect black women when he goes off on this rant. I just hate that Judge Joe Brown, has taken a stance to attack her in that way. I know that he's a Trump ally, because he
Mhm.
said that Trump has done a lot of things for black people quietly that he knows personally and all of that, all of that. But does that mean that you have attacked a black woman? But then I don't think he even sees her as black. So that may be answer my question right there. But it's just disheartening, man. But for me, Trump going there did more good for me as it relates to me inching towards putting that check mark for Harris than not. If he had not gone, I'd probably still be, you know, 75-25, 75 and not voting for and 25 for voting for. But I think it's moved close to 50-50 after yesterday.
Man, that's a beautiful response and that's a mature response. It's an honest response. Is that, prove to me during this campaign cycle that you deserve my vote. And I think any kind of way we can get a perspective or get a view on that individual is beneficial. Now, you're right. You mentioned Roland Martin earlier. I mean, Roland, I think he has a great thing going on now, and I appreciate, the black perspective and all of that. But I would like to see him be a little bit more objective and be a little bit more balanced because it's obvious that he is truly democratic. He's not independent. I think in that role, his role, it might be good to be independent and be able to point out then the good and the bad of both candidates. But he strictly is, Democratic. And so you mentioned two names, JFK and Cornel West. If we truly had a multi-party system in America, I mean, Cornel West, I mean, I love that brother. I mean, just the way he approached conversations, the way he calls everybody brother. I mean, that breaks down that barrier right there. Even when I ever heard him, you know, debate folks, he just deflates the tension in the room. And so, yeah, you're right. That would be a beautiful choice. But you and I both know it ain't gonna happen. He's not gonna be able to in one cycle make it work. And JFK, his whole family done endorsed or did endorse Biden. Maybe it'll change now that is Harris. Who knows? But I'm with you. You can't run and we can't hide from these opportunities. What we've got to do, I still say, is be mature enough to know and to understand if a real estate person can become the president, reality TV can become the president, then truly someone that's been a DA or someone's been a prosecutor, attorney general, U.S. senator. And let me say this about those that say she prosecuted brothers or prosecuted sisters. Let me ask the question. My goodness, that's their job. That's what they do. Now, for us to have a real clear understanding, did she ask for greater sentences? There's certain things that prosecutors can't do, that they're determined by the judge and not the prosecutor. They may make a recommendation, but the final say is the judge, not the prosecutor. As Attorney General, yeah, she may have, but you got to understand, California was laden with drug problems, drug trafficking, human trafficking, all kind of things. And so, for me, he has a better perspective of what crime is and what crime is doing to people than 45 would ever have. So even there, I wish people would understand that if you had it's just like here where we live in Atlanta. I mean, we cheering for for Fannie to do something that's going to put 45 away as well. And people are saying give him 100 years and all that kind of stuff. Once again, irrational behavior, irrational thinking. We just have to be balanced and know that most politicians are lawyers. Some have been DAs, some have been other things, but I don't know many that have been state attorney generals as well. California being the largest state, in the nation, and then to be a state senator. And I'm gonna tell you one other thing, then Mark, that disappointed me. Seriously, this again how brothers, man, disappoint me. When she first moved into that assignment, almost 4 years ago, former Mayor Willie Brown come out talking about, oh yeah, I had that. Come on, when we gonna mature and grow up? Donald Trump, two of his wives he brought them in they came over, they went to this little club, looked around to see, yeah, I want that one. You gonna tell me he loved his wife? Give me a break. All she was is a trophy, and then let me have a baby with you, and that's it. What else? What other value has she brought to America? What value did she bring to America when she was the first lady? Compare her with, let's say, even Michelle Obama, or compare her even with Kamala Harris. It ain't a marriage with her, but what did Melania do instead of, once I heard, complain about putting up some trees in the White House? Yeah, I don't believe in putting up no trees, but if you got that job, you got to do some things you don't want to do. And she said, F that, to one of her trusted assistants. So Denmark, let's close it out with some final comments, man, in a minute or two. And I think we done beat this one up enough. But bottom line is, brothers and sisters, we got to mature, and we can't allow people to cause us to jump on bandwagons if they're not horses of maturity. Come on, Denmark.
It's just amazing, man. As I continue to try to scroll through IG and Instagram this morning, just to see what people are saying about both of them, but really about what happened on yesterday. And it's I don't know how we come to some level of agreement on what should have or shouldn't have been done. It's done now. The interview is done. He made a fool of him. Use it to
Yes.
your political advantage. I will be putting the disrespect of how he dealt with black women. I will be putting that up on TV ads all day and say, hey, is this the president that you want? Or whatever. I believe it's Charlemagne the God. I believe he was saying that the Democrats sometimes are too weak. They're too weak in their approach to attacking Republicans. History shows that they take this approach, a soft approach, man, and the Republicans normally come out swinging. And I think to be truthful, this is the perfect opportunity with the female, because he's close to crossing a line that I believe that even white females will jump off. The white females that are on his bandwagon will jump off once he crossed that line. And he's very close to it. So why don't you just go ahead and push him over the edge? That's what I would do.
Brother, my closing comments, I'm going to say this. You may remember when you and I chatted about this years ago, I said Trump is not a racist, he's a powerless, meaning that he will stomp on anybody. Doesn't matter who you are, what you are. He'll throw a few crumbs out there to make it look like he's got a level of sensitivity. But Trump is a serious misogynist. We know that a misogynist is someone that just does not like women, don't believe women should have power. His VP choice is the same way. He's a misogynist. And that's what you're seeing. And I agree 100%. If these women don't understand that this dude is a misogynist, where's his wife doing all of this campaigning? She don't even want to be with him because she don't want, because she's no asset. She's not an asset, right? And I think his misogynistic ways, as you indicated, over these next whatever almost 100 days, I think that's going to take him under. I mean, for somebody to say they could grab a lady's genitals and nothing to happen, and then get sued and lose a case, and then after that, you pay off a porn star, then you pay off a beauty queen. I mean, if you don't understand how this guy views women, you really don't have your eyes open. if you have a niece that's written 2 books about trying to tell the American public, and I just ordered one, brother, about 45, man, because again, this is I haven't gotten it yet, but written from the perspective of why white evangelicals got tricked into supporting Donald Trump. And I'm gonna tell you why, from my perspective, but because most of them ain't read the very Bible that they claim they believe in. They ain't read nothing. And so at the end of the day, they just like puppets. That's all they are, puppets. And I'll say this to my brothers and sisters. Just pray, meditate, whatever you do, however you do it. Don't matter if you're Muslim, Christian, Hindu. That's another thing. They try to say, oh, he's a Hindu. What that got to do with the price of tea in China? Well, we keep getting hung up on this stuff. I mean, oh, she's a hit. What? Well, what is Trump? He ain't nothing. He's a, he say you're a Christian, but he can't give you one verse to tell you. He can't tell you if you like the Old Testament or New Testament. Oh, they both the same. I like both of them. He can't get, oh, I got many Bible verses I like. Recite one of them. Recite one of them. He can't, then Mark. He's a phony. He's a phony, man.
Hey, he
And
came
brother,
out the other day, brother. Let me say this before we
go
close. He
ahead.
came out the other day and he told Christians, he said, I need you to go out and vote. And he said, I know you don't like to vote. I know you don't like to vote, but I need you to go out and vote. He said, this will be the last time that you'll have to vote because I'm going to go out and fix it. He said, I love you, Christians. I ain't Christian, but I love you, Christian. He got over that real quick. He got that part real quick. And it's like, come on, man. He's playing y'all for a fool, man.
For
Like,
food.
for a fool.
For food, man. I mean, that's what I'm saying. We have to be more mature, man. I mean, Paula White, that whole Christian group, man. I mean, I just saw so many of them, man. Kenneth Copeland. I mean, all of them jumping on that Trump bandwagon. And I'm like saying, have y'all ever read the things that God hates? This man represents all of them. I ain't gonna even go through them right here, but he represents all of them. Then I just say one of them that's in there, lying. Well, I say two, throwing seeds of discord. That's his whole personality. That's his whole persona. I'm gonna lie and I'm gonna sow seeds of discord. That's enough right there, but it's 5 more after that. But brothers and sisters, fun. It's been fun, then Bob, chatting with you this morning. This abbreviated version. I know we could go on and on, but we'll cut it for now. We'll come back and do this again, and maybe we'll have these impromptu sessions and chat some more. I love chatting with you. You have great perspective, and we hope our brothers and sisters that hear this will just see it as a presentation of balance, that we have to admit those things where we fall short, but at the same time, we got to give our brothers and sisters an opportunity to get up again. Let us not smother them so much that they won't have an opportunity to do what perhaps God has ordained to take place. So I appreciate you getting up early this morning, brother, and having this conversation. And I want to ask our listening audience to make your comments below. What do you think about this conversation? You agree, disagree, you like, dislike, whatever it may be. But once you hit that subscription button and be with us the next time we come on, as well as that notification button. I mean, we want to build this perspective. We are elderly, more elderly. In this case, in the 7th decade, my brother Denmark is in the 5th, or getting close. He ain't there yet, getting close to the 5th decade. And so our perspective don't have to be perfectly aligned. We just sharing how we see things, and we want to learn from each other. We have another group of brothers that that they couldn't make it today, but that's okay. We're going to begin to do this thing to where we continue to push this narrative, especially as we get closer to November 5th, 2024. It's been my pleasure, Denmark. Man, you have a great day, and we'll hook up, again, take care
Yes,
of those
sir.
duties that you were sharing with me earlier.
Yes,
I
sir.
know, and I'm gonna say this last thing. You yourself, more than most brothers I know, based on your relationship with your mother, your grandmother, your children. I mean, you have a great perspective from women, and we might want to chat about that one day. Has misogyny destroyed America. Has misogyny, has the dislike for women. And brothers and sisters, understand when you see a Megan B. Stallion at an event, I agree with those. That ain't a thing that we need to do. We don't need to emphasize something like that. And so maybe we'll talk about that as well. How black women, or ask the question, have black women internalized the objectification of themselves? That they're willing now to just show their bodies, show their goods in public, for maybe, who knows, for a check, or sometimes for nothing. We got to get better, Denmark. We got to get better. Until next time, brothers and sisters, J.A. Rogers, your Mike side, said peace and love.